Greetings all, Fanny here for Cancer's weekly message. Wow, that was a very tight deck. The first card that came out for you, Cancer, is Temperance. Going off of how, chunky the deck was, it wasn't moving in, the flows that it normally does like that. The Temperance and the World coming out in reverse. I feel like some Cancers out there have had a lot of craziness going on in their life, and they are in great need of this balance, because from the deck itself to maybe how your physical body feels, it feels stiff and tight and pressed together, like really tight back muscles that you don't realize are constricted until you take the active time and effort to release it, like taking those deep breaths and feeling it go all the way to the base of your stomach and then releasing that slowly. It can ease the pressure that you don't even realize is there. And I feel like there is quite a bit of stress and strain that Cancer is under. Spirit, why is Cancer going through this? What is the origin of this stress and strain? Your work, your dream. Something that you want very, very much of, but I almost feel like there is an imbalance between working and relaxing and enjoying yourself. And understandably, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. I am a small business owner myself, so I know how stressful and straining it is, that nagging voice in the back of your head saying, you know, everything is riding on you. Why aren't you doing more right now? Why are you just sitting here fucking off? Or why are you sitting here playing a game when you could be doing some work? And that comes from a lack mentality of your own self-worth and value. Not seeing yourself as valuable enough to take a break. Not giving yourself the care that you would like to receive from a store manager. Because when you are in your own position of authority, you are employer and employee. You have to be the boss and the stalker, the worker, the programmer, whatever it is. You have to be everything. Which means it takes a lot of self-discipline and awareness. And I almost feel like some Cancers out there are way too hard on themselves. Putting way too much pressure on themselves. Forcing themselves to do those late nights. I'm talking like you are on the computer working until 4 in the morning when you know you have to be at work at 6. I'm not saying that your dream isn't important. I'm not saying that you shouldn't make it a priority. Working yourself down to the bone and burning yourself out is not going to be the way you step into this king energy. The King of Cups, and the reason he has achieved that power in himself, is that he is not afraid to admit when something is too much, when he needs some times. I mean, think about it. Divine Masculine and men in general do not allow themselves to express their emotions. And that's what the Suit of Cups is all about. Emotions. We started with that even with the Temperance. How she is trying to balance what goes between these two cups. And that's what it's constantly talking about. Fill your cup up first. But I feel like you were so very hard on yourself, because that's the only way you will see yourself as valuable. That's the only way you will see yourself as worthy and deserving, is if you've made something with a certain dollar amount or a certain standard, or you reached a level of statistics. And my love, numbers will run on forever, and you will never achieve the goal that you want, because as soon as you get close, it moves further away. Numbers go on forever. Like Temple Run. I was just saying Temple Run in my head, and you could practice. You could go really far, but there's never actually an end to the temple. At least not that I know of. I've gotten to 20,000 meters before on that game. That and Temple Run too. But point being is, you could hyper focus on ensuring you miss every block, every obstacle, but one misstep and you had lost everything, and you had to start all the way back from the beginning. And no, you're not starting over, you're starting from experience. However, there are some people that would be so very defeated at that they may not have the energy or the strength to get back up again. You're in the middle of a transmutation right now, Cancer. And I want you to ask yourself, what is ready to be let go of and burn away? What is ready to be transmutated into something else? Break that down. Trans is to change, the transition of something. Mutated is another form of change. You are fundamentally changing right now. And you can take an active part of that role and say, I do not want this anger associated with being bullied all my life. I do not want this fear associated with the, trigger warning, but the molester of my life. I had to say it. It came up to my mind. It might be relevant to someone. I'm sorry that upset anyone, but moving on from traumas and allowing ourselves to heal, allowing ourselves to become this new version, is the root of what temperance wants us to do. To balance out what no longer serves us and to accept the dawning of the new day. Like, what does not belong to that cup can fall back into that pool and be recycled, rejuvenated, revitalized. But they have to decide that they're willing to walk a path and give up something that they are actively holding on to now. That's the thing. You are actively holding on to something that caused this situation, or the reaction or the outcome of the painful situation. And that is because it is part of your ego. It happened to you. You see this as part of you, as part of your journey. And when it becomes that integrated into your life, it becomes part of your energy. And when you try to achieve this greatness, when you try to move towards and work towards this success, it sort of is like it's a weed or a vine that's choking it out. It was such a strange imagery going on in my head of like something hidden in the garden is choking out the plants, and you're like, I've given it enough water, I've given it enough light, I've taken away the impurities, I've balanced the pH. Why is it still dying? Why is it still not thriving? And there is something else in the energy that is upsetting it, something that has not been brought to awareness. And there might be a lot of shifting energies right now. This might be something has to be brought to awareness, to be acknowledged, released, and integrated. Whatever it has to be. If it is trauma, it has to be released so that you have space to integrate the new energy. If it is courage and inspiration, it has to be integrated so that you could put it to good use. But right now, Cancer, Spirit is trying to bring balance into things that you have asked for, but it means looking at things, looking at memories and versions of yourself that you have tried to forget for a very long time because of how painful it is. You can't forget where you have been, but you do not have to identify with it. You do not have to be trapped by the person that you once were when you allow yourself to actively move forward. But you have to allow yourself and make that decision, Cancer. Have a beautiful day, my love.